Hi, everyone. We've reached the end of the month, so we're going to recap some of the great conversations that have been going on in the Humanizing Work community.
As you may know, we host 4 Humanizing Work communities of practice. On the first Friday of each month, alumni of our annual conference meet to stay connected and dig into some advanced topic about humanizing their work. On the second through fourth Fridays, our Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Leadership communities meet.
These free communities are open to alumni of any of our courses. If you've been in a course with us and you're interested in joining, please reach out and we'll get you going. All right, here are the highlights for March of 2022.
Our conference alumni community met, and we actually spent the hour doing lightning talks on book reports, what we're reading right now, what we've read in the past that has been helpful to us that we wanted to share. Before we started in on the planned topic, we did take some time to share why we each do what we do, and it's worth checking out. On to the official topic with our book reports, most of the books shared were nonfiction. Some were clearly business applicable things, some less so. Check out the episode page in the description for links to the books and short descriptions of everything that was shared during this session.
We don't usually take on the same topic in all of the 3 role-based communities, but we've heard enough questions about estimating lately that we decided to make March Estimating Month. Each community focused on an aspect of estimating that was appropriate to that role, but they actually all turned out to be really complementary. If you attended just one of the 3, you might want to check out the recordings of the others.
So in the Scrum Master community, the lens on estimation that we took was why the hashtag No Estimates community exists and what it means for you. So to get prepared for this session, Richard had to go to the Wayback Machine in order to prepare. He ended up digging up the original No Estimates article from Woody Zuhl. Woody, if you're watching, that article's not up right now. We had to go to the Wayback Machine to get it. So we started going back to the reason that we estimate in the first place. Like, what jobs do people hire estimates to do? And some of the jobs that people described estimates doing for them are jobs that we also value, and others kind of conflict with our mental model of how to do work effectively. So we really focused on what's true about humans and works that we should keep in mind as we're estimating. For example, we talked about things like what Kahneman and Tversky call the planning fallacy. And we talked about why flights can be much later than they'll ever be early, and why that matters for estimating. Given that, when we do need to provide estimates, what tools and techniques should we use? So we shared several references from other experts that we also admire in this space, and had a really great discussion on the Scrum Master and coach's role in estimating.
On to week 3, we had the product owner community, where we looked at the product owner's role in estimation and forecasting, with particular focus on forecasting because the product owner doesn't have a whole lot of a role in estimating, because that's not really their job. They use the estimates. We looked at a quick and intuitive technique to help your stakeholders understand why estimates are always optimistic versus pessimistic and how we'll forecast with that in mind. We dug into why even if you and your team are doing everything right, our estimates are wrong 90% of the time, and why that's not something to despair over. We talked about how to shift the conversations from speed or predictability of delivery towards speed or quality of learning and outcomes. And then we looked at a few different ways to visualize and communicate forecasts for different audiences while still being honest to everyone involved. And then finally, there's a bit of discussion about how forecasting intersects with budgeting and contracting in contexts where those are important.
Then in our leadership community, we talked about the leader's role in engagement with estimation, planning, and follow-up, and specifically in creating a culture that values certain things about estimation. Now, we got a little ambitious on this one because we have a half day of content that's part of our Leading Organizational Transformation course that we normally spend about a half day on, that helps leaders understand when they're proposing a change, where are they likely to get resistance, how can they benefit from that resistance, and then how can they treat any change like it's an experiment or a series of experiments rather than a planned out kind of change management project. And so we decided, since we're talking about the leader's role, this might be a useful set of tools to talk about leading a change around estimation. So we flew through that half-day content in an hour, and the participants did a great job with that, recognizing that we had to go a little bit shallower on some of those things than we normally would have. So we really focused on some core parts of that. That is about framing the change idea as a shift from one thing to another thing. Again, how to categorize resistance and uncover key assumptions we're making about it. And then how to test those assumptions in a series of fast, clean, safe tests that allow us to learn early on and then start to build momentum for a successful outcome.
Interested in more? As Peter mentioned, we flew through a half day of content in a very short period of time. So if you'd like to learn more, visit humanizingwork.com for our next offering of the Leading Organizational Transformation Workshop. Existing community members can access links to the recordings on the community space. And as we mentioned in the intro, these communities are made up of alumni of our courses in our annual conference. So if that's you and you want to get in on these discussions as they happen, and you do want to get in on these discussions as they happen, reach out and we'll get you the info to register. If not, contact us at info@humanizingwork.com and we'll talk about how you can join.